This is FYI on your TV, brought to you by Hometown News. I'm Kathy Botham. I've got Christine Lapierre with me. You are a mental health care nurse. You've been on FYI sort of in the background before. I knew I'd recognized you.
Yeah.
You work closely with our Constable Aaron Tompkins here in Smith Falls.
Yes, I have. I've worked a bunch of different nursing jobs, and previously I've been working with the officers out of Lanark OPP and Smith Falls Police, and now I've transitioned over to the crisis team in Brockville. So I'll still very much work with closely with them, and in Brockville we'll take on any clients from Smith Falls. So it's a very small world, and we'll all continue to get to work together. But yeah, I've dropped to part-time work, so that's why I'm no longer with them. And
Oh,
yeah,
okay. Well, like you say, well, you look very familiar, but yeah, you have
yeah,
been here with our Constable Aaron Tompkins before too. So
yeah.
we are here to talk about what your program called Mindful Fishing. Now let's talk a little bit about the background of it.
So previously to coming and working with the police, I used to be a crisis negotiator in the penitentiary system. And because of that job, I unfortunately got injured with post-traumatic stress disorder. So I went off work, I went through my treatment. I've tried everything from medication to even some shock therapy. I've done it all to try and get better. But one day I was out fishing, and I had a very good supportive partner who took me fishing once, and I noticed that I was out there and I wasn't thinking about anything else. And I thought, wow, like for the first time, my mind was clear of any previous traumas I incurred or anything going on in life in general. I just thought, what is this? This is magical. So I joined an Ontario Women Anglers group, and I started ice fishing with them. I thought it was important that if there's this therapy aspect of fishing, that I should be able to do it year round. So I started focusing on winter and then shoreline fishing in the spring. I eventually saved up enough money to even buy my own little aluminum boat for, good for the back lakes and the fall. And so here I am, and I just want to share what fishing can do for frontline first responders and what it did for me. And I just want to share that passion and share what it is. And it can be done cheaply. It can be done with family. It can be done anywhere, anytime, any month of the year. So
That's
that's what mindful fishing is. It's just to share the therapeutic benefit of fishing and I decided to focus on first responders just because I am one and I work with them and I'll continue to work with them. And I think if we're not looking after our own, then the rest of the community is not going to be looked after. So I think we start from the top and work our way down, and building up our first responders is only going to build better communities. So that's my thoughts around it.
Yeah, and I mean, I had Peter Larmond here a couple weeks ago from Big Rito Tackle too, and there's just something about fishing. I've never touched a fish before. I've never broken a worm in half or anything, but some of my best memories are when I was fishing, when I was with my uncles or my dad, that sort of stuff. It's very therapeutic, and it's a great memory.
It's something I can't remember a lot of the fish I catch, but I do remember the feelings I got from it, right? And that was it. I had very good memories growing up fishing with my dad, and unfortunately he passed 15 years ago, so I haven't actually been exposed to it very much until I met my current partner. And I actually prefer to go for panfish. I think they bring me back to those childhood memories, fishing off the dock and catching those pretty little colored fish. They're also a great fish to eat. If a lot of people, they think it's all about walleye or going for those fish, but panfish are delicious. You can fish them year round. There's lots of them, so we don't feel bad if we keep a feed once in a while, and they're the prettiest fish to look at. So, and it really does revert you back to your childhood memories and a lot of those good feelings that we had before, we kind of entered this line of work and our adulthood and some of the other stuff we have to face in our day to day. And fishing got me back to work healthy, and it's keeping me at work. So I'm very appreciative of it.
And like when I think of your program, Christine, I'm thinking, how we're talking, like fishing is therapeutic, but you yourself, you've got such a wonderful background to be able to have discussions with people as well.
It's unique, and I'd like to think that I've used my skills and my background to create the program, but it can't all be me going forward. And I've actually had some people volunteer. Peter Larman that you've had on the show before. I work closely with him because I think it's great what he does for kids in the community and how he tries to get people out fishing. I've made great connections, but people like like Pete or anybody else who fishes, they can take people out. You're still going to benefit from just a day out on the water where it's about being mindful and about being present and in that moment. And people don't have to come out and tell their war stories, or it's not even about people who have even been injured, but people that just want to fish to stay healthy at work and to give their minds a break. And, I always had a fishing rod in my truck. I would stop by. Smith Falls is one of the best places to shoreline fish. You can stop at any of the locks. You can stop at Lower Reach. I found it a great place to unwind, even if I had to at lunchtime. The police would be calling me back, like, get back to the office. You're out fishing, but hey, I'd come back healthy and ready to respond. And
they knew where to find you.
Yeah, they knew where to find me, of course.
And that in itself too, it's like you say, it's a very mindful thing to do. Like it's great that you are there for them if they want to have those discussions. But it's very therapeutic to be in that space and that time. And again, it's just fishing is such a wonderful therapy.
It is. It just gives your mind a break. Yeah. It's not a very recognized therapy, so it's something I really want to focus on. Right now it's a lot of data collection, how what kind of fishing appeals to a lot of people, what are some of the barriers to get people fishing, even learning how to fish under a budget or learning how to fish with kids. So, kids don't prevent you from going. It's great. Bring them, so I'm trying to figure out those and weather and whatever, and what time of year is best for people. And I'm a big fan of ice fishing. It's a slump people get into, especially with seasonal affective disorder and shorter days. I remember working 12-hour shifts, and I'd go in at night and I'd come out at night, and you would do that for long periods of time, and it was awful, right? But to get that day outside, and it's so we finally have built a shack now that we have warmth. I couldn't get people out. It's too cold. I love the cold, but not everybody does. So we're trying to work around that, and really it's just as open as just come fishing, just contact us. We will make it work. We're willing to go anywhere in the Ottawa to Kingston area, kind of. Burrito Lakes area obviously is the best. And yeah, that's all it is. People have contacted me and said, how do I start this? What do I do? So just offer to take someone fishing. That's all it is. That's, it's nothing special, but it really has a special effect.
Oh, well, even when you say it's too cold to go outside, again, once you're out there fishing, you forget that it's cold outside.
You do. 8 hours and minus 30. And I was sitting there and I didn't think about anything.
Yeah.
It's unfortunately my knuckles are starting to ache and stuff. I'm out in the cold and I'm not noticing it. And I'm like, it's taking
so you're offering a fishing trip to people that have PTSD?
To any first responder. I think it's great as prevention, as maintenance, and as treatment. It's I like to go fishing with people even that really do fish to see, okay, I don't even know if I can use them as an example, but there's a Smith Falls police officer who's very into fishing, and I'm interested in that because he keeps himself well. What does that impact of fishing have on him, and is he going enough? Should he go more? How can he use that at work? So it's not just about being injured or needing that, but it's also about prevention and just seeing if fishing might be something that keeps you well while you're on the job.
Now, have you had people go out that've never fished before?
Yep, absolutely. I have tons.
And you got
obviously I like that I get a lot of females out. It's not intimidating. I don't claim to be an excellent angler. I really just started taking fishing seriously 4 years ago, but I've become quite obsessed with it. So I picked up a few things. But I love taking people that have never fished because it's a clean slate. It's hey, and they're always the ones that just, go based on your feeling. What do you think will happen? And I explain, give the basics and stuff, but they always seem to luck out. I love it. And kids too.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Now you've got a lot of support. There's people doing events and fundraisers for you because this comes with a cost to you.
Yeah, it does. We try to really limit the cost. And my message is always to people, don't worry about it. I'm going fishing anyway. I'll always have an extra seat in my boat. I'll always have an extra rod. We're going anyway. But of course I would like a bigger shack to put people in. I want to have those extra rods. I've even, when I've upgraded some of my clothing, I've kept some of those float suits and those like extra duty heavy winter jackets just to kind of decrease some of those barriers. So anybody who's willing to donate or help out, it obviously pays for gas. And I was fortunate enough to raise enough money this year to take a Kingston police officer up to Lake Nipissing for a weekend on the ice. And she has benefited from that experience so much. And I would love to continue to do things like that. Another event we're hosting this Sunday, actually, on Charleston Lake, where we live. We're having just an open house. Any first responder or family member or friend, anybody who just wants to come and see what we do or what ice fishing is about, are welcome to come. And we have a nurse donating all the hot dogs and hot chocolate. We're donating the fish. We've been working hard at catching some. We have the skating rink going, and we have a lot of volunteers that are coming and donating their gear and shelters and their knowledge. And we have about 80 people, I think, coming so far. And it's just
Wow.
out on the ice and just come and hang out and yeah, and
Oh,
have fun.
that is so awesome of you. You're sharing, your experience. You're sharing your home. You're sharing all your,
Yeah.
your material items that you have, your boat, your fishing rods, your ice shack. That's wonderful to do that. But you know the importance to this.
I do. And we're even lucky enough that during the beginning of the pandemic, we were able to find a place to rent on Charleston because I was still living in Kingston and driving to Smith Falls every day for my job, and it was too much. So we found this, it's a cheap place. I feel bad how cheap it is compared to some of the rent and mortgages people are paying now. So I feel even lucky in that. And we had this shoreline space and an extra boat, and we had this stuff that we could share with people. And especially during COVID, when people were locked down and didn't have access to nature like we did, I just felt it was a shame not to share it. We just said, if you ever need to come and just use our shoreline to fish, just to unwind, it's there. Our stuff is there. It's hanging up on the wall down by the shoreline. Just use it. Just come and use it.
Well, things all just fell into place. That was meant to be.
Yeah, absolutely. It really was. And, when you're giving those gifts, I think it's, it's important to share them, right?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And thank you for doing that. That's amazing. So this is for people, all first responders. So we're talking ambulance drivers, doctors, nurses, police officers.
Dispatchers, yeah.
Anybody that can come to this. And how do they find out more information? How do they get a hold of you, Christine?
So I'm right on Facebook under Christine Lapierre, and I have a group on there, Mindful Fishing. You're welcome to join. And I'm trying to keep it like a small community, close knit group so that if people are going fishing, they can say, hey, I'm going fishing. Anybody want to come? So that Mindful Fishing group is on Facebook. I'm also on Instagram for Mindful Fishing, and that's more of a blog. Some of my experiences. A lot of people don't want to share their experiences publicly, and that's okay. It's always confidential if you come out with me. But feel free to add me or message me on social media. People are easy to find these days. I need to find somebody to do a website for me.
You got back to me like within minutes.
Yeah, it's there's a lot of contact right now with our event coming up on Sunday, so pretty available, and just message. I'm open to it. I love it.